Hey, thank you so much for checking out episode 4 of the Route 1042 podcast. I'm Ryan Steinke, and I am your help. I am your supporter through your journey from childhood to adulthood. And along this journey, you're going to come in contact with so many topics and so many situations and circumstances, and a lot of times you're not going to know what to do. I'm not here to be the guru and to give you all the answers, but I'm here to point you to the one who does have all the answers. Along this journey, you're going to come into contact with a phrase that is you've probably heard a million times by now, and that is mental health. Now, mental health has probably been exaggerated in some circles, and it's probably been minimized in other circles. But I wanted to address it, talk about the definitions of these, and really be willing to put yourself under the examination of, do you have good mental health or do you have bad mental health? Now, these emotions that we deal with of anger, of joy, sadness, loneliness, anxiety, peace, and happiness, all of these emotions are a part of life. So we have to be really careful to think that just because I feel a certain way, therefore I am a certain way. We can't have that, because your emotions were not meant to dictate your life. They were meant to simply express it. You see, the decisions that we make, that's how we move in our life. It's on a step-by-step, one decision at a time. The Bible reminds us that the Word of God is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. So all the decisions that we make can have a biblical foundation, can have a godly foundation to give us the best possible outcome. Now, we all make mistakes. No one here is maintaining happiness 24/7. If they are, they're weird, they're freaks. I don't know what's wrong with them, but nobody can maintain happiness 24/7. We all have emotional highs, we have emotional lows. We all experience sadness, loneliness, anxiety to a certain extent, perhaps even states of depression for periods of time. But God never meant for our emotions to lead our lives. So let's talk about good mental health and bad mental health. Well, what is good mental health? How do you know if you have good mental health? Well, I'm happy all the time. No, you're not. We all have sad days and bad days, and we all get angry, and we all have all these other emotions that we have. So what would define somebody as having good mental health? Well, you really need to understand that this comes through time, because what happens is in life, you face circumstances and you have situations that you come across, and the decisions that you make are going to be expressed through emotions. And then you're going to be dealing with the circumstances and the consequences of those decisions that you have made, and therefore you can have emotions attached with those results as well. Somebody who has good mental health has been through a situation or a circumstance, has expressed the emotions, whether they were angry or whether they were happy, but they have learned how to navigate that decision. They've learned the lesson from that. Take for example, my children. I have young children, and they cry over everything. It doesn't matter what it is. They will cry over just about anything. Somebody took their Barbie, somebody took their crayon, they lost a necklace, they saw a ladybug fall on its back. I don't know. They cry over everything. Now, me, on the other hand, I see them crying over, a pillow that touched them, or somebody's toes are touching them on the couch, and they're crying and wailing. And I'm like, what's going on? That's not a big deal to me. I don't have that same emotional attachment to their circumstances as they do. Why? Because I've learned. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal if a toe touches you on the couch, or if they have gross toes, that one might be an issue. But there are some things that they're going through that I've already been through. And if I were to go through the same situation as my daughters, I am going to have a much more stable emotional outcome than they. Why? Is it because I'm just built differently? No, it's because of life experience and perspective. So if you want good mental health, if you want to go through this journey of from childhood to adulthood and enter adulthood with a strong, with a stable, with biblical and godly mental health, that you need to be able to learn the lessons from the decisions that you have made. Now, what about bad mental health? Now, I would say there's several contributors to bad mental health. First of all is our own sin, our own decisions that we have made. Then there's the circumstances that surround us, and then there's the decisions of other people that affect our lives. There's also the contributor of a physical disorder that can cause disruptions in the hormones and the chemical imbalance in somebody and can cause their emotional states to be in disorder. So if we're going to talk about bad mental health, we can also say it as a mental health disorder or a mental illness. But let's first talk about some of the circumstances surrounding our own personal decisions. Somebody who's going through a bad decision or a decision that they've made and it's had a bad outcome, a negative outcome. What happens is when they don't learn that lesson, when they don't learn to grow from that, after they've expressed their sadness and after they've expressed their loneliness, whatever it may be. Okay, take for example, some friends rejected you, or maybe you made a mistake on stage. Maybe you're doing the big concert, okay, and your horn just went that squeaky sound. You know, it happens. You play the clarinet or the saxophone, you know what I'm talking about. It makes that weird squeaky sound, and everybody laughed, and all of a sudden, so you made that decision. There was an error on your part, and now you're experiencing negative emotions. You're being singled out. Everyone's laughing at you. You're now afraid. You're embarrassed. On and on and on. And you take the next couple days of thinking about that and being sad. Somebody who doesn't learn on how to become better out of that or to learn the lesson from that is going to keep that emotional experience and keep that experience to themselves, and that's going to become a prison to them. You have to understand that bad mental health is a prison. It keeps you locked in. It keeps you locked in the past. It keeps you from experiencing the goodness of God, from the goodness of life that He has to offer. It keeps you bound. So a part of obtaining a good mental health from a bad experience is being able to learn some of these lessons. We're going to have some people on this podcast that are absolutely going to help you. First of all, they're going to help you identify whether or not you truly do have a mental disorder. I think, now listen very carefully, I think that there are teens, I don't want to say I think, I want to say I know, that there are teenagers who are, they're preying, I guess, on the stigma and the spotlight of mental disorder. So here's what I mean. They're labeling themselves as depressed, or they're labeling themselves as having anxiety or ADHD or ADAD and or an ADD and ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and all the other stuff. Why? Because there is a spotlight that society puts on these people. There is a pandering, there is a pacifying that the school system does to these people, that the social light does to these people. And there's some teenagers who perhaps you are claiming yourself to be depressed and you actually are not because you've defined it wrongly. Or maybe you say you're full of anxiety. I'm taking anxiety pills, and I have this for my anxiety. I have this pillow for my anxiety. I have this paper napkin. I don't know what paper napkin. I have this thing to help me cope with my anxiety. No. You probably don't have anxiety because you're labeling yourself wrongly on a wrong definition. So what we're going to do for the next couple episodes of this podcast and leading up to a big meeting coming up here very soon is we want to help you, because I don't want you to mislabel yourself. I don't want you to live a life that you are not meant to live. You are probably, for those who, under closer examination, you've been mislabeling yourself and wrongly defining yourself. You're missing out on the life that God has blessed you with. God did not make us to be defined by our emotional state. He has made us in His image. Yes, we have emotions. Yes, we have sadness and joy and all these different things. But God has made us, and it's really important for you to know how you were made. I really want to help you with this. I don't want you to go through this journey from childhood to adulthood wrongly labeled, therefore wrongly lived. You see, your mental health is going to determine the health of your life and the health of your decisions. The way that you think is going to dictate how you behave. What is going on in your heart and your mind is going to dictate on how you live in your school and in your house and with your friends. It's going to dictate everything about you. You see, there's a battle going on. And this battle is not over your body. And this battle is not over your school. It's not over your house. It's over your mind. And there is an enemy out there who wants to deceive you. And I want you to know that God is the author of truth. John 14:6 says, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Jesus is truth. He knows everything about you. Jesus knows how you are meant to live. He knows all of the issues of life. He knows how to help you live the best life possible. Man, a life of fulfillment, a life of joyful experiences, a life of close connections and relationships. And God has all of that for you. So in the next few episodes of the podcast, I want you to get in a place where you can listen, maybe take some notes, and allow God's Word to examine your life and help you. I'm looking forward to being with it. I hope you share this episode with somebody that you know, and we'll catch you on the next one.